Okay, so today is kind of a very typical day here in the north of France. And when I say that, I mean, I don't know where the sun is. There's clouds everywhere. It's pretty cold. It's raining. So I thought today, since I probably wasn't gonna go out and film anything, I was like, maybe today and the next couple days, make some videos talking about this camera that I'm using right now, which is the GoPro Hero 7, which in my book is a winner. So I guess in this video, I'll try to show you guys a little bit of pros and a little bit of cons, in my opinion, of this. And I'd say the first pro is this is like an excuse killer. It's raining, it's cold, I don't know how to film, I don't know the settings with cameras and all that kind of stuff. This doesn't require anything, it's one push of the button, it's waterproof, you can take it anywhere, takes away every single excuse. Bonjour. I went to this little bakery trying to get a little snack. They don't have any more. But anyways, yeah, I live in the north of France, so it's really cold and it's really windy and rainy a lot of times. So for me, having a camera that I can take out, that I can take anywhere, anytime, for me is absolutely perfect. And this thing, it checks off all the boxes. And then I'll probably say the next thing, you see how smooth this is. Can you see like how smooth I'm walking? And even if I like jog a little bit, like that's me jogging. It's so smooth. The stabilization on this thing is amazing. And I want to say the first time I looked at the video from after a day of shooting with this, it really looked like I was just following myself with a drone. That's how smooth and stable this is, which for me I think is a top and something that's super amazing about this camera. That kind of brings me to another conclusion. This thing is like super small, super portable. So usually I live in a small city. You guys can see this is like maybe 12 o'clock in the afternoon. There's like almost nobody out or anything. But sometimes when there's people out and there's a lot of things going on, I stand out. Almost everyone knows who I am in this city. So walking around with my huge camera, most of the time I'm on the GH4 with the Gorilla Pod, with the microphone. People just look at me like I am insane. So a lot of times when I don't want the attention, just because it's a small city and I play basketball for the city, I sometimes don't like the attention too much on my just daily life, you know. So having this little camera right here, when I'm walking down the street, people are saying hi, people waving up and talking to me. Most of the time, they don't even notice I have this little camera in my hand because it's super small. I did something back in my home to kind of show you guys how small it is. So you guys can see how small this thing is. I have really big hands, and you can see this thing almost can be hidden. I can hide this in my hand. Just to put it into comparison for you guys, this is it compared to a US or half of a US $100 bill. Well, I mean, it's a whole $100 bill, but half of it, you can see the size of this thing. You can see the size of this thing, which makes it like super, super convenient when going places. And this is in the shell. This is inside of a case. The GoPro itself is even smaller than this. So now I'm at the cafe waiting for my food, and you know, normally I do have my big camera and the other side camera I used to have. I always have like two. I have the main camera, but whenever I'm on trains, when I'm in restaurants, if I'm with a big group of people and we're in a quiet place and we don't want to get a lot of attention, I'm always with a small camera, which is most of the time I use the Sony RX100. But this camera is so much smaller, and I can be, let's say there's a lot of people here. Well, today of course there's not, because it's just kind of typical weather kind of day, but no one noticed this little camera that I have, and no one really even pays it too much attention, so it's perfect. That's it. That's it. Even my friend who's working here and brought me the coffee, I just stopped talking, covered this with my hand, no one noticed it. With the big camera, they notice every time, they ask a lot of questions, which is cool, but most of the time when you just want to have a quiet, nice little espresso, it's sometimes good to just not have the attention. And having a little camera like this for trains, planes, I'm trying to think of other situations when I go into a bookstore or a quiet place like that, having something like this is totally perfect. Even going out at night with my friends, no worries about someone spilling something on this camera. Durability is perfect. Okay, so that food was kind of perfect. for me, whenever I've got a lot of different projects to work on during the day, I find the need to always have to change location a lot of times, change the coffee shop, change that for a new project. Kind of changes my mind a little bit. One thing I want to move like this, I'm in my car, I got a lot of things on my mind. The one thing that I really like about this camera is I don't have to think about a lot of stuff with this camera. I don't have to think about, am I in focus right now? I don't have to think about, can you guys hear me? Is the volume turned up? Like, none of that stuff I have to think about, which makes this camera super, super amazing and gives it a definite thumbs up in my book, because a lot of times when you're filming, and stuff, my mind is on a lot of different things. Like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I gotta record the podcast, I gotta mail out these postcards, I gotta do this. And then I go to sit down early the next day in the morning to go over the footage, and I realize, oh wow, the microphone wasn't plugged in. Or, oh, the camera wasn't in focus. You know, all this kind of stuff is just like, oh my goodness. And with this little camera, never have to think about anything like that. Normally always in focus, haven't had a problem. Kind of leads me to something I have to think about if I have to talk about the cons of this camera, because I don't really see a lot of them. But if I did have to think of the cons, being someone who's filming and talking to a camera all the time, one thing that is kind of important to me is having a flip out screen to make sure that you're always in focus and to make sure you're centered right, make sure everything's framed right. And here there is no flip out screen. With no flip out screen, it's just weird vlogging without a flip out screen. If you're used to flip out screen, not having one, not the same thing. But honestly, if you don't know what it's like filming with a flip out screen, it shouldn't bother you guys so much. But wow, I just found this new coffee shop someone told me about. Definitely nice. And speaking of, I think I might have just found my new favorite place to come and work. Definitely. Okay, and if I had to think of another con about this camera, I'd say, and all these things don't bother me at all, and I love it, but I feel like you have to kind of give the negative as well as a positive. I would say that when I'm in a setting like this with, if there was more people hearing noise and there's a music playing, that there's no microphone kind of directed to me. So I don't know what my quality of my voice sounds like here. I kind of have to talk a little bit louder, whereas with a vlogging camera with my microphone, you only hear me no matter how loud the atmosphere is. But of course, there's things you can do to get this. You can get an external mic and tripod and everything, but this is a camera that I hold in my hand everywhere. I actually wear it around my neck, so the portability of it is really nice. And that would be the only other con I can think of. Or there's one more that people talk about, but I understand why they talk about it, because that's what they say is the battery. They say the battery on this camera doesn't last a long time, but because this camera is so small, you can carry an external battery with you and just charge this camera and put it in your pocket or something, let it charge for 30 minutes, and you're good for the day if you've depleted your battery completely. But other than that, that's probably it. You know, that's probably it as far as things about this camera. So for me, this camera is a 100% winner. And maybe I'll choose a different place to finish this video up, because I'm like drooling at my mouth wanting to have this, as they say in French, this pain de raison, this right here. So we'll spin. When training just finished right now, and having this little camera, I think it's so convenient. You can take it places where maybe you wouldn't necessarily take a camera. I wouldn't take one to my training, but because it's so small and convenient and I'm sweating, I can get it on here, no worries or nothing. And yeah, one more test to show you guys how great this camera is. Gonna go outside in the night. Whew. And right now, the final test here in the night. It's raining a little bit, there's wind, but you can see the quality of this thing. I mean, it's not top, but it's not a low light camera, but to be this small with the rain, I wouldn't have my camera out here to begin with, but you can see that I can have this no problem. I do realize that the stabilization is a little bit blurry, a little bit distorted when I'm trying to walk with this thing in the night, but overall, I love this camera. And I guess the big question is, which one do you get? I haven't tried them all, but I think the GoPro Hero 7 Black is the only one with the stabilization. And for me, that's one of the big selling points of this camera for me. So if you ask if the camera's worth it, for the price, my answer would be absolutely yes. GoPro Hero 7 Black is a winner for me in my books every single time. And of course, you can put a microphone on here. You can use a tripod. I have it in my hand. I wear it around my neck. Something simple. It's raining right now. It's a little windy. This thing works fine. You can hear me. I can tell the story. I can show the story. And yeah, this is definitely a winning camera for me. So on that note, probably tomorrow's video will be something else probably about this, maybe. But for you guys who are new around here, thank you guys for watching this video. And everyone else, thank you guys so much for being here as well and sticking through a little tech kind of review. And I'll talk to all of you guys later. And everyone always remember to work hard, be brave, and don't forget to smile. Ciao.